For anybody that's been living under a rock, Tulsi Gabbard has continued to embarrass herself and anybody who've ever fucking supported her in any capacity. She's just gone mask off hawk. Basically going on Tucker Carlson to bitch about how we're not doing enough drone strikes, how we're not slaughtering enough innocent people, how we're not causing enough collateral damage. But I'll let Tulsi speak for herself. Gavin, if you have any response before you want to set this up before we go.
Yeah, let's dive right into it. This is just further vindication for ourselves here at the Vanguard. People who were calling out accurately Tulsi Gabbard's bullshit from pretty much day one, but a lot of people defended her regardless for a long ass time, embarrassing the hell out of themselves in the process. So, not that we've been right about everything here at the Vanguard, but when we are right, we're definitely going to do a bit of a fucking end zone dance. And that's what's going on right now. Seemingly, it's like a fucking weekly segment now. She gives us like fodder to fucking roast every single week. But this is the latest, certainly quite cringe.
Congressman, thanks so much for coming on. So you get to lie. I mean, this will not shock you because you've seen it so much, but you get to lie about.
I also forgot to set this up when I was telling everybody the reason, this is what's fucking crazy. The reason Tucker has her on right now, and that's why he's setting this up for people who are getting this completely out of context and haven't seen it. He's having her on because the United States admitted to killing innocent children and civilians in an airstrike overseas, right? Afghanistan disaster, right? Okay. We literally did an airstrike that killed children. She's there Tucker basically, like everybody knows, Fox News is scripted like the fucking WWE. She goes in there. What he wants her to do is shit on Joe Biden and talk about how there's no accountability in the U.S. Fucking military, because there's not, obviously, right? But instead, this is what she gives him. Instead of talking about the disaster, the murder of children, and the fact that nobody will be punished for this, this is what Tulsi has to contribute.
Congressman, thanks so much for coming on. So you get to lie. I mean, this will not shock you because you've seen it so much, but you get to lie about the loss of human life. You get caught and nothing happens to you. What kind of system is that?
I mean, this kind of accountability is critical. I want to point out first that anytime there are civilian casualties in war, it is tragic and terrible. Yeah. War is a terrible thing. And I think it's important for the American people to understand that Islamist jihadists are continuing to wage war against us. And the Islamist ideology, not the same as the religion of Islam, but this Islamist ideology, which is a political ideology that inspired the terrorist attacks on our country on 9/11, is the greatest threat that we're facing right now in this country and the world.
She literally sounds like a Bush-era neocon, by the way. A Bush-era fucking neocon, straight up.
Tucker Carlson in 03.
Yeah.
World. It is the foundation of governance of so-called Islamic countries like Turkey and Iran and Saudi Arabia and Pakistan. And it's what's behind the discriminatory policies that they have in these countries against Christians, Hindus, Buddhists, atheists, and others. So as long as these Islamist jihadists are waging war against us, we have to work to defeat them militarily and ideologically. And militarily, we have two choices in how we do that. Number one, we can continue to invade and occupy and nation-build in countries around the world, just as we did in Afghanistan, at great cost. Number two, we can take a targeted approach using airstrikes, using our special forces to go in and go after these terrorist cells. The reality is that the cost to the American people, the cost to our troops, the cost to civilians will be far less if we take this very targeted approach to go after these jihadist terrorist cells than if we continue making the very same mistakes that we saw in Afghanistan and other parts of the world of invasion, occupation, and nation building.
So yeah, this is absolute insanity for numerous reasons. But again, as you said, Zach, Tucker literally brought her on here to condemn this fucked up drone strike because it murdered 10 innocent people. 2 minutes later, she circles back around to, actually, drone strikes are the way to go. If we're going to do imperialism and, go around fucking extrajudicially murdering people in other countries, it should be via drone. The fucking, the drones which Daniel Hale just revealed killed 90% civilians and which literally just killed 10 more at the end of an already bloody, horrific waste of a war. So, yeah, what's your thoughts, Zach?
Yeah, let's just take this fucking stride by motherfucking stride, because I think there are still a few people in this stream that need to be like further articulated to why this is a fucking disaster. Okay, so one, we were literally just talking about how there is no fucking thing, there's no such thing as a targeted precise drone strike. Okay, it doesn't fucking exist. The whole history of the United States involvement in the Middle East with the entire drone era, the 10 fucking years that we just learned all about thanks to Daniel Hare, who's now rotting in fucking jail. Okay, that showed us that we're always wrong. We are always fucking wrong. Even before we were doing the drone strikes, when we were just going in and pulling cab drivers off the fucking streets and torturing them and leaving them without trials for 20 fucking years, taking out their eyeballs, fucking crazy shit that we've been doing to people. We couldn't even do that without killing innocent people, without capturing innocent people, without ruining people's lives, without cause and without mercy. Okay, so let's just get that straight. What she is presenting is a fiction. She is not presenting anything that is rooted in reality. What she is presenting as a justification for the contractors to keep enriching themselves while they destroy and mercilessly fucking kill all of these people, that not just in the Middle East, by the way, but in Northern Africa, all over Africa, right? She just reminded us, thanks to the Empire Files. We'll get to more Empire Files based behavior after this. Fucking amazing work that they always do, obviously. Talking about how she's basically been on a covert mission to fucking kill people in Africa, right? She tweets about this shit openly, right? That's why she still hangs out with all those fucks like Navy SEAL fucking cheerleaders, the Black Rifle Coffee motherfuckers. Like, these people are so pro-war. These are jingos. They want the fucking people in Virginia, Washington, D.C., Maryland to keep enriching themselves. The CIA class, okay? They want to stay there. They never want to fucking leave. And she literally is going on Fox News to go to the right of Fox to advocate for drone striking. This is straight up fucking vicious warmongering, jingoism, and the fact anybody that ever called her the true anti-war candidate needs to be fucking embarrassed. They need to be ashamed of themselves. And I know we won't get any fucking videos from them talking about how ashamed and embarrassed they are for turning their back on a real progressive candidate like Bernie Sanders and fucking instead supporting this person who is so steeped in U.S. militarism that they're willing to go to bat for the fucking people that killed children with drone strikes and say, no, what we need to do is more of these. It doesn't make any fucking sense. She also called it the radical Islamist jihadists the single greatest threat to America, as if we're not living through a pandemic, eviction moratorium crisis, climate change catastrophe. Hello, Tulsi. You're literally like a fucking spokesperson for the Pentagon now.
Yeah, exactly. There's literally like a 9/11 worth of deaths happening from COVID on a daily basis. And here she is on Fox News sitting next to the guy that's been downplaying the fucking pandemic.
Not the same as the religion of Islam, but this Islamist ideology, which is a political ideology that inspired the terrorist attacks on our country on 9/11, is the greatest threat that we're facing right now in this country and the world.
It's literally not. It's literally not. I can't believe anyone would say that with a straight face. Radical Islamist ideology is the #1 threat we face in the United States. You literally sound like a George Bush era fucking neocon. You literally sound like some deranged right-wing radio host right now from like 2004. This is insanity. There are real anti-war figures, and those people deserve credit, one of which did an absolutely amazing thing recently. We can talk about this a little bit. Mike Preisner of Empire Files recently disrupted a live event in Beverly Hills where George Bush was speaking at. Let's take a look at this.
Was around too. And
Mr. Bush, when are you going to apologize for the million Iraqis that are dead because you lied? You lied about weapons of mass destruction. You lied about connections to 9/11. You lied about Iraq being a threat. You sent me to Iraq. You sent me to Iraq in 2003. My friends are dead. Joshua Castile. You killed people. You lied. You lied about WMD. 1 million Iraqis are dead because you lied. My friends are dead because you lied. You need to apologize. Apologize. You need to apologize. Apologize. Apologize.
Are you with this gentleman? No.
I feel it might be inappropriate to call that a based call out, but just considering the nature of the severity of the fact that this man lost dear friends of his, 1 million deaths in Iraq. But gosh, I actually came across that when I was not expecting to. I wasn't, in any kind of like lefty world. I was just scrolling the main page of Reddit, which this actually made it to. And I was just like, holy shit, this is something that's important. And he, you know, he got out there and he fucking castigated George Bush while he's doing his victory lap, while he's fucking, you know, getting his dick sucked by Democratic media because of who knows what the fuck, the anniversary of 9/11, when he botched the fucking response to that like a motherfucker, and the entire lead up to 9/11. Yeah, it's crazy the fact that he's been rehabilitated like this. But Gavin, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think this is awesome, absolutely awesome from Mike. And basically, you know, he's setting a good precedent here, starting a good trend, which is anywhere George Bush goes in public, anywhere he speaks, he should be confronted by what he did. He should be disrupted. He should have his, you know, veil of civility pierced by people like Mike, who are going to remind him, the people in attendance, and the world of what crimes George Bush was complicit in and responsible for. This is absolutely something that's necessary, and war criminals like George Bush, in my opinion, should not be able to just go around to fucking live events in Beverly Hills for who knows how much a ticket, you know, giving their speeches about, oh, the world is so broken today, and oh, partisan politics have overwhelmed society, and oh, look at this craziness, Donald Trump is so radical. Meanwhile, the blood of literally millions of people are on his hands, you know, responsible for one of the biggest fuck ups in all of modern American foreign policy, which, like I said, led to the deaths of literally millions of people. So this is so base. This is absolutely incredible. This is what we need to see more of. Huge props to Mike, who thought he was going to be arrested for this. Apparently he was released, so the charges were not dropped, but he was fully prepared to, you know, get arrested for this, along with the camera person who was with him. I think someone else, actually, I can try to find it. Someone else, there's no video of it, but someone else actually confronted Bush at the event the night afterwards. So that was pretty cool as well. Yeah, here we go. Again, there's no video here, but another activist, Jeb Sprague, disrupted George Bush's talk in Long Beach. He was briefly detained and then let go. He said, "Your war destroyed my cousin's life. Your war created a nightmare for my family. He's a shell of his former self. Tens of thousands of Americans and 1 million Iraqis have died. Use white phosphorus, a chemical weapon in Fallujah. Arrest this man. Arrest this war criminal." So yeah, starting a trend which Jeb continued here. Obviously not Jeb Bush, but Jeb Sprague. Anyway, this is the kind of shit that George Bush and his cronies need to hear. Again, literally every time he shows his face in public, especially if it's at some fucking gala or event in which he's being presented as some voice of authority, which people should listen to. Like, no, he's a fucking war criminal. He should be at the fucking Hague. Anything else is unacceptable. And yeah, that's just an example. Mike Preisner and Abby Martin as well, who's currently filming a documentary in Alaska. That's what real anti-war activists look like. And like us, they've also been correctly identifying Tulsi Gabbard as a complete fraud and a hack from the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually, what was the name of that woman, Talia, who was on Bad Faith recently, and she was like, anytime any of these motherfuckers are seen in public, they just need to be punched in the face. That's how I feel about George Bush. Anytime that George Bush is anywhere in public, he needs to be treated like you ran into David Duke himself. Like, he needs to, like, throwing a shoe at George Bush was too kind for him back. Like, there's a famous video, somebody mentioned it in the comments, of just somebody throwing their fucking shoe at George Bush. Like, that kind of shit is too good for him. But he needs to know, you know, and not just him, but the public needs to understand that, and the media needs to understand that we will not be complicit in the rehabilitation of these war criminals, these monsters, these most vicious, deplorable individuals on this earth, responsible for more just devastation and destruction than we could possibly imagine, than we could possibly fucking fathom as regular people. They have caused. Could you imagine having 1 million deaths on your fucking conscience? I mean, it is incomprehensible, the scale of destruction that this man and his cronies are responsible for. The debt that they owe could never be repaid. And yet we have people with 3 strikes in prison for crack that they never sold to anybody, just used and bought. Are you fucking kidding me?